Since the 2000s, the Hallmark Channel has made Christmas movie after Christmas movie after Christmas movie. But Thanksgiving movies. Thanksgiving may not get the glittering spotlight in a Hallmark's lineup, but it's still a holiday worth celebrating. And as I discovered, a surprisingly elusive one. Kinda like me when my relatives invite me to Thanksgiving dinner. Out of the literal hundreds of Hallmark movies to have been produced, I spent hours sifting through their backlog to find my needle in a haystack. There are only 4 Thanksgiving movies, and because you're just as curious as me, I watched all of them so you didn't have to. But wait, Hallmark has a countdown to Christmas where they show autumn-themed movies. Says Hallmark stand for life. Firstly, you unironically watch Hallmark movies? Secondly, you're correct. But we don't want just autumn. I want Thanksgiving. So let's lay down some rules. 1. Movies can't just be autumn themed. If I only went for the movies that are autumn themed, this video will be way too long. 2. There must be mentions of Thanksgiving. These characters can't just go on dates because cuffing season's around the corner. 3. There has to be a gathering around Thanksgiving. I'm talking plans on meeting family, eating with them, or going to the Macy's Thanksgiving parade. With all of that being said, I think it's time we dive into the feast of awkward family gatherings, last-minute romance, and reminding working women that their values should be about starting a family. Love at the Thanksgiving Parade is a 2012 movie centered around Emily Jones, the story's quirky Thanksgiving parade coordinator. With a questionable taste for vintage attire and even more questionable taste in men.
I gotta go. Oh, we're chasing a school of female blue whales.
She wants that man to lock her down. Mr. Whalefucker and her have been together for 5 years. And lo and behold, he's coming to visit her a few days before Thanksgiving. Now, Emily has 2 problems. First, she has to convince her man to marry her. And 2, to deal with this pompous rich guy that's trying to ruin the Thanksgiving parade. This is Henry Williams, the financial consultant hired by the city for a week to review the parade's budget. The rich guy that'll laugh in your poor faces. He's, of course, the story's antagonist. And Emily has to convince him her planned proposal will work.
Well, if he hasn't married you in 5 years, he's not going to.
You are so wrong. That shouldn't be a shock, since you seem to be wrong about a lot of things. I will bet you $5 that I will be engaged by Thanksgiving.
Fine. You're wrong.
And that the parade is worth being free. Through a myriad of non-dates, we're using the word non super loosely because how is going on a chariot ride around the city not a date?
There's Elmo.
Are you on any medication?
Their walls towards each other start to come down, just like Emily's hopes and dreams about getting married. Because in an orchestrated attempt, instead of her being proposed to on a one-on-one date with her mans, she is instead asked to.
I was away at sea for many months, and my time away has taught me one thing, and that is that I don't want to be without you. I'll have my own boat and my own research team, and we will be away at sea for 2 years. And what I want to know is, will you do me the honor of joining me on the ship of my life?
Yo quiero, I do.
Great! Oh.
In a spiraling fit, Emily runs out and coincidentally Henry is there. He sees how upset she is and decides to take her to karaoke. Good work ethics. Of course, she gets violently drunk, omits a few choice words, and hurls on the ground. So Henry takes her to the roof of a building. Why would you take a wasted person to the top of a building? Is he going to kill her? And I bet the door's locked. Okay, so he doesn't try and kill her, but they did end up sleeping underneath a tarp till the morning? then have a walk of shame back to work. However, Emily learns that Henry's serious demeanor hides a kind and thoughtful man. Meanwhile, Henry discovers the depth of Emily's passion and how the parade brings the community together in a meaningful way. Along the way of their evolving relationship, in the background, the parade committee is actually struggling to find a Santa Claus. Maybe if Emily was doing her job and stopped slacking off with Henry, she'd have noticed her employees having a hard time. I don't know. But the movie can't end like that. Henry so graciously skips out on flying back to wherever need be to be the temporary Santa Claus for the Thanksgiving parade. He's the stepdad that stepped up. Emily sees this and hops onto the sleigh, killing the immersion, mind you. And right then and there, he asks her out, asks her to marry her, and kisses her. Thoughts? In my opinion, besides the micro-cheating, weird business ethics, and cheesy dialogue, I'd have to rank this movie A tier. And all of its oddities, the characters were fleshed out, their intentions made sense, and there were times where I giggled. An old-fashioned Thanksgiving. So this is gonna feel like info dump, but bear with me. It's 19th century rural America. The film follows Tilly Bassett, the oldest triplet who aspires to be a writer, Prudence Bassett, the middle child who has to clean up after the oldest, and Solomon Bassett, the youngest, who just wants to eat real food. They're children to Mary Bassett, who's recently widowed, so that means money is tight. The mother is sorta a nurse, and the eldest daughter works, but we never see said job. So, in a call to action, Tilly writes a letter to her wealthy grandmother, Isabel Caldwell, posing as if the family is in more worse condition than what they are. Little did she know, she's stirring a pot that shouldn't have been touched. The grandmother arrives, and instantly, boom, her carriage breaks, forcing her quick visit to elongate. She immediately starts throwing shade at Mary's life choices, her struggles, her late husband, and even the way she's raising her kids. Meanwhile, the kids are stoked because grandma's arrival means gifts, fancy meals, and if they play their cards right, a break from poverty. Tilly, the mastermind, is soaking up all the attention, especially when her grandmother encouraged her dreams to become a writer. But this creates even more tension between the mom and grandma. Till it all comes to a breaking point and her mother reveals,
My mother was born in a hovel, Mrs. Hopkins, the sort of place you're afraid to set foot in. Later in life, she became my father's nursemaid. They married when he became too senile to object, after which she persuaded him to leave his fortune to her. His children spent years trying to contest the will, but as luck would have it, she bore him a child. This made it difficult to have the will thrown out, as I was living proof of a legitimate marriage. My mother's pedigree has been collected by using her considerable charm to acquire associations like others collect works of art.
Stop it! Whatever you say, she has made us happy. Anyone who is unhappy is free to leave.
Tilly's basically in a rock and a hard spot. Her growing bond with her grandma gives her glimpses of a life she dreams, but it also shows her the sacrifices her mother has made. Did I mention Thanksgiving is around the corner? No? Well, now you know. Also in the whole mix-up, Tilly's getting silly with the wealthy society guy because now she doesn't look poor, she could be seen with her love interest. Also, to keep the house afloat, the mother keeps nursing more and more sick town folks. Back to the family drama. At this point with awkward tension, something eventful must happen that brings everybody together. The mother becomes deathly ill. But with the grace of Thanksgiving dinner, she's recovering easily. And in a true Hallmark fashion, all is resolved. Tilly gets the adventure and become a writer, and now the family isn't poor anymore. Thoughts? The whole movie is a simmering pot of family drama, clash of values, and frankly just a lot. My first viewing was a bundle of confusion. Felt like the narrator was fighting with which character deserves a spotlight, and I wish the mother won. because I didn't really like Tilly as much as the movie wants me to. I'm ranking this D tier, a family Thanksgiving. This is Claudia, sharp attorney living her dream career in a bustling city of San Francisco. While she takes W after W's in the court of law, her personal life is virtually non-existent. So much so that she chooses work over an invite to her sister Jen's Thanksgiving again. Jen is the completely stark contrast to Claudia. She lives a more traditional suburban family life, while Claudia is on her normal routine to get a cup of coffee. A gentleman nervously tries to rizz her up. GG, I guess. But she continues on her day to the office. There waiting for her is a unsuspecting visitor, Gina. I hate her. Say it with me now. We hate Gina, and let me tell you why. Gina is the fairy godmother sent from hell to insist that Claudia's workaholic ways have blinded her to the real joys of life. Creating a family. Gina casts a spell that transports her into an alternate reality. A life where she's married to the guy she just rejected, Tom, and with 2 kids in the suburbs. It's the riches to rags
Jason's gonna spend TikTok money on cigarettes.
archetype, but done horribly. Claudia is dropped off in front of this beautiful house. As she approaches the home, out walks Tom, handing her off the youngest daughter. Then he tries to kiss her, but she swerves it like a pro. She then meets her 2 kids. She's horrified and starts traumatizing the children.
You don't want to be our mom?
No!
It becomes clear to her that she has been forced into an alternate reality. Her biggest nightmare, while she'd love to attempt to escape, the looming concern of abandoning a child that calls her mom holds her back. So what does she do? Strap the kids in the minivan and head to the office. Of course, nobody knows who she is. Claudia then runs to the only reliable source she knows, Jen. Similar to people with baggage, Claudia unfolds this hard, surreal existence to her sister. Jen kinda glosses over that and, like an NPC character, relays her alternative universe lore.
What else? Tell me everything. What have I missed?
What's up? Are you and Bill okay?
Do we seem it?
You two? Made for each other. Bill's probably just freaking out because he's got another birthday coming up. All you need is a good night's sleep, and when you wake up, everything will be back to normal.
Oh, I hope so.
After her chit-chat, Claudia is back home, laying the gremlin to sleep, and heads to bed. And Tom wants to get freaky-deaky. Now, if this was a normal circumstance, like a consensual marriage, playing Twister under the sheets is fine if this was normal. And I'm glad that she made him sleep on the couch. As the days pass, Gina appears periodically, cryptically urging Claudia to learn what truly matters. If Claudia wants any ability to get home, she's gotta start locking in. Oh, an achievement. Stockholm Syndrome? Through the chaos of teaching the gremlin how to potty train, to helping the son get better grades in math, and managing a soccer team, Claudia slowly learns how to balance this new life. Eventually, when Thanksgiving finally came, she and her sister got a chance to bond while cooking. The heartwarming connection that Claudia and Jen honestly needed. Too bad it's technically not real. But honey, this is Hallmark. We need one more issue to occur that strengthens this imaginary bond. Can I come clean for a second? If you made it this far into the video, you should totally think about subscribing. Clearly you're enjoying yourself. Why don't you stick around for more? It'll help the channel immensely and it won't cost you anything. Okay. Can I come clean? Claudia's recent case that she took on before swapping is downright diabolical. I'll let the movie explain because I'm no paralegal.
And they've just made an offer on a state-owned park in Winston to buy another. Now the state has accepted that offer, but the townspeople of Summit got the injunction to stop it. Strauss have hired us to get the injunction overturned. One of our major selling points was that we had a lawyer who could do just that.
She was ready to be her sister's biggest op for the sake of the bag. However, through the turmoil of being spawned into another timeline, she saw the value the park brought to her sister and even the kids she took care of. And that gave her the motivation to find a loophole in the case to help the park. Just as she was doing the right thing, Gina, the fairy godmother, comes and takes Claudia out of the upside down, put her back in the real world. As Claudia was brought back, she was actually saddened. However, with the new information she equipped it, she knew what she had to do.
I find in favor of the townspeople. The injunction stands. I guess you're fired.
But who needs him? In the other timeline, she learned she could easily be a bad bitch leader. So she calls her sister to arrange time together. And with a heavy heart saying this, she seeks out Tom at the very coffee shop they first met and asks him out. Thoughts? I hated this movie. I think a character being forced into motherhood and mustering up a lesson through it isn't a good plot device to tell a message. Especially the fact that she's married to someone she literally rejected at the start of the movie and now has to awkwardly navigate around coercion? Stop trying to rebrand Stockholm Syndrome with a little bow. It's not cute. The only saving grace this movie has from stopping me from putting this in F tier is the rekindling of the sisterly dynamic. Yes, it's still muddied by the fact that the only way for them to spend time together is if the other loses their dream job. Therefore, in a good conscience, I can't rank this movie any higher than E tier. The Thanksgiving House. This is Mary Ross, also a sharp attorney living her dream career, but in the bustling city of Boston. Sure, characters are recycled, but plot isn't, so that automatically makes this movie higher than E tier. Due to the passing of her beloved aunt, Mary inherits a charming old house in the small town of Plymouth, Massachusetts. Together with her boyfriend Rick Allen, they depart to check on the house. Before even getting a chance to decide the fate of it, there is a suspicious man outside of their backyard. See, this is how you know they're in suburbia, because if they were in the hood, that shit wouldn't fly.
Sent this about a week before she died. She and owners of several other adjacent properties gave me permission to take some core samples.
For what?
An archaeological study that I'm doing.
All right, well, I'm the owner of this property now, and I don't want you digging holes all over it.
I'm surprised they didn't instantly call the cops. Anywho, this is Everett Mather, a passionate local historian and teacher who believes Mary's house may sit on the original site of the first Thanksgiving feast. Quirky white guy being quirky. He's determined to prove its historical importance and preserve it for the community. At first, Mary is skeptical and uninterested in Everett's enthusiasm, viewing the house as something to cherish in nostalgic memories, not to be taken by the government and bulldozed over for the sake of history. Everett gives her his business card, and that's the end of their first interaction, at least for this scene. It's a fresh new day. Mary has a cup of coffee and her boyfriend enters the house. Rick starts suggesting that maybe Mary should think about selling the property because of the possible fortune. After a small back and forth, they get ready to leave for the day, but there's a knock at the door.
I'm glad I caught you. I have some potentially exciting news.
Did he just barge in? Can't this woman get one day to the house? I'm telling you, man, if this was another type of neighborhood. Everett comes in, pitching his hyper-focus of the month in hopes that they understand, while Mary isn't having any of it. So she rightfully kicks him out, but Everett did pique the interest of Rick. More on that later. The movie shifts to Everett, who's in the postal office shipping off the samples to be tested. The postal dude questions him about the package, but he just awkwardly shimmies away. You know how there's always the one person who's just loves to stir shit up? Yeah, that's the postal guy. Because he contacts a local gossip blogger about his findings. And lo and behold, this woman turns out to be Everett's old high school fling, Ashley Mulligan. Yeah, I'm looking at the weird spelling too. Ashley is the roach that keeps coming back after being gassed with Raid. Ashley arranges a meet with Everett and she questions it but gets nothing. But we're left with this remark.
But the inquisitive pilgrim will uncover the truth, Everett. She always does.
Later in the day, Mary is repainting her home and guess who barges in again? Everett! He pitches for more samples to be taken, gets absolutely obliterated.
Without my written permission, if you or anybody else tries to lay claim to any piece of my property for public use or any other use whatsoever, I will take you to court.
And departs. Before Mary can go back to painting, Ashley rolls up. This time, she's way quicker to slam the door. Thank God. Cut to next day. Mary's at work. And like a lost puppy, Everett is there without fail. Now I know why those two dated. Two harassers cancel each other out.
I was in the neighborhood. Wanted to see if you were free for dinner tonight.
Why is he asking her out when he clearly saw she was taken? Like, why phrase it like that? Wait, why is it nighttime? Why are they taking a romantic stroll down the street market?
I worked something up for you.
The Rosinski family tree. Thank you for doing this, but I already know all about my family's history.
I'm not trying to diagnose Everett, but after handing a kind of stranger a printed diagram of their family tree in the name of your hyperfocus, I think you should start hyperfocusing on which part of the spectrum you're on. Continuing on, while Mary is on shift, she learns that Ashley makes a presumptuous post about her house. This then causes people to start treating the house like a tourist attraction. That mentality, I should start saying the Last Supper was hosted on my property. Let me get the bag like Rick and Ashley. Speaking of those two, they're teaming up now, behind Mary's back. Well, there goes their relationship. Just in time for a new one to form between Mary and Everett's mother. Didn't think I'd say that, did ya? Let me catch you up. Mary's suing Everett, and Everett's father is a lawyer too, and his mother's a stay-at-home mom. To hopefully butter Mary up to drop the lawsuit, the mom decides to come visit with food.
Do you think I could get the recipe for these cookies?
Oh, I don't know. Will you drop your complaint against Everett?
And it kinda works. That's wild. Like, imagine settling lawsuits like that. I know you're suing my son, but here's food. He hasn't paid his rent. You think food's gonna make up for it? Everett's mother suggests that Mary go visit Everett on one of his lectures at the library, and she actually goes. Through this moment, Mary's walls towards Everett starts to crumble, and they go out for dinner, all dressed up like if it was a date.
Doesn't it appall you that I'll be having steak for Thanksgiving?
I ate a carnitas burrito for dinner one Thanksgiving. I was in law school in California and I couldn't make it home.
Law school?
Yeah. I gave it a try. Family business and all.
She enjoys her time so much that she drops the case quietly and opens up to Everett that the house means more to her. He finally understands that he's been disrespecting her peace. I'll just say the elephant in the room. They're dating at this point. Because 30 minutes into the movie, she breaks up with Rick, which triggers the alliance with Ashley. By the way, they never come back again. Thank God. With their newfound connection, Mary grows closer to Everett and his family, eventually opening up about how her parents' divorce fractured her relationship with her father. On Thanksgiving Day, Mary hosts dinner at her newly vamped home, inviting her estranged father and a coworker, while Everett brings his family and friends. By the end, Mary makes peace with her past, embraces Everett's quirky passion, and receives a plaque to honor the house's legacy. Thoughts? Let's get one thing straight. We can unanimously say that this movie was better than the last. However, it did have a lot of faults. First, Rick and Ashley. Were the writers tired of putting them in scenes? Because it sure felt like it. After 48 minutes into the 1 hour and 20-minute movie, they aren't significant to the plot anymore. Just a fart in the wind at this point. Secondly, while I love certain annoying characters in media, I'm looking at you, Goo, from Imaginary Friends, I couldn't deal with Everett. His boundary pushing, insufferable antics, and blatant lack of awareness at his old age did not make me like him. If you really were to think about them as characters, they wouldn't even work out. He pissed me off so much in my first viewing, I said I would deduct points if they ended up together. And as prophesized, I shall. Lastly, if the house is the whole reason for Mary to even be in the town, why do we have this pivot about her father? The movie built up the possibility of Rick and Ashley fighting for the house to profit from it, while having this looming chance that the government can take it from Ashley if it's deemed a historical land. I get you don't want another court scene like a family Thanksgiving, but it doesn't really help if you keep talking as if it'll happen. Therefore, down to D. Here is the final tier list. After watching every Thanksgiving Hallmark movie multiple times, I might add, here's the thing. These films aren't about groundbreaking storytelling or perfect nuanced characters or even a cinematic masterpiece. Clearly, the real magic lies in the experience of watching it with your family, your friends, or even your overly attached cat. Same reason why people find enjoyment in watching poorly made movies. My first viewing of each movie was with my mom, and that created memorable moments between us. Each film, in its own quirky or sentimental way, carries the same core message. Thanksgiving is about connection, taking the time to show gratitude for the people who stick by you, even if they're the ones roasting your cooking skills during dinner. So, whether you're watching to laugh, to cringe, or just to have something in the background while you plan your Black Friday strategy, take a moment to savor the simplicity. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Now excuse me, I'm going to eat.